Hello. So, big surprise, this is yet another video that stems from my personal life experience. Who saw that coming? I've wanted to talk about this topic for a while, but I wasn't really sure how to tackle it, and I also wasn't certain as to whether I was the right person to even be discussing it, but it's something that's really impacted my life, so here we are discussing it. A lot of people tend to throw around the terms body neutrality and body positivity quite loosely without really understanding the context behind them, so I just want to quickly explain and differentiate the two. The body positivity movement was actually initially started up by a man called Bill Fabre. He was incredibly outraged at the discrimination and mistreatment his wife, Joyce, who was fat, received. He called for equal rights for people who were fat, and a lot of people who felt the same began to support fat activism. This developed into body positivity as we know it today. At its core, the movement is to support and empower people who are viewed as overweight in society's eyes, and basically show them how to love and appreciate their bodies. It's not really intended for people who aren't plus size, which is why it's kind of unfortunate to see people who are objectively slim posting about body positivity on Instagram and other social media platforms, when in reality the term was never meant for them. It detracts from the true meaning of the movement and the message behind it, and it kind of just steals focus from the people who are at the focus of the movement. I think a more acceptable way of being body positive if you're not overweight is just practicing self-love. That term is far more neutral and doesn't have as much history behind it. So, if you are slim, rather than saying you're practicing body positivity, maybe say you're practicing self-love. I know it may sound pedantic, but it really makes a world of difference to the people who actually do need the movement and who actually do feel empowered by it. Then we have body neutrality, which kind of revolves about what your body can do for you rather than your body's physical appearance. While body positivity is about loving your body no matter what it looks like, body neutrality doesn't require you to love your body at all. That sounds kind of fucked up, but what I mean by this is the importance isn't placed on your appearance, but rather what you can physically achieve with your body. It takes away the emphasis we usually place on our looks and replaces it with an appreciation of what we can do. I've mentioned this in another video recently, but I struggled quite a lot in the past with my physical appearance and body image. I was hyper aware of how I looked at all times. When I was younger, it was all about my face, and I spent ages staring in the mirror, just, trying to find imperfections. There's another pimple, further proof that I am hideous. And then as I got older, my skin cleared up a bit, and because I am more of an adult now and I no longer have the body of a prepubescent child, my body has changed. And as soon as I realized that, there was something else to fixate on. It's completely normal for your body to change as you get older, obviously. You literally learn about it in biology, but I was obsessed with the fact that I had gained weight and my body's shape had changed. And honestly, I don't think the body dysmorphia really helped with my perception of myself. I would once again spend ages in the mirror in my underwear and see where I had gained weight. And then throughout the day, I do body checks on myself, seeing where all the squishy parts were, and then feeling super disgusted with myself when I found squishy parts. This led to me trying to fix myself by regulating my food intake, compulsively exercising, and then sometimes binge eating, which led to me feeling even more awful about myself. Just not a fun cycle all around. And I think through that process, I actually lost all concept of what I looked like. I feel like I just saw myself as this repulsive entity floating around in space. It was a weird time. I kind of realized this wasn't exactly a healthy way to live, and I didn't really enjoy not liking my body, but at the same time, I couldn't bring myself to love it either. I was just too nitpicky about my flaws for that to happen. But then I saw a bunch of stuff on body neutrality and it kind of shifted my mindset a bit. I was intrigued. Hey, rather than hating or loving my body, I could just not give a shit, which was such a relief, honestly. Obsessing over yourself is incredibly taxing. So I stopped weighing myself and I stopped trying to heavily monitor my food intake. I've actually started eating intuitively, which I found has been a pretty successful method so far. If I do exercise, it's not with the mentality to lose weight, but just because it makes me feel good and more awake, and I enjoy it. Also, I do try not to look at myself in the mirror too long. I'll double check to make sure my makeup looks good or something, but I don't stare for hours on end at myself. And I try not to stand in front of the mirror when I don't have clothes on or when I'm getting dressed. And because I've limited my mirror time, God, that kind of sounds like screen time. Imagine if you got a notification every week telling you how long you've been looking in the mirror. That would actually be horrific. Imagine if it's significantly high one week. You'd feel so insanely vain and self-conscious. Anyway, because I've limited my mirror time, when I do look at myself in the mirror briefly, I'm pleasantly surprised. Oh right, yeah, that's me. I look nice today. And then I move on with my day and don't stare obsessively to try seek out my flaws. I also tend to use social media strictly for things that I find entertaining, not as a medium to view people who I end up comparing myself to. Anyone who makes me feel shitty about myself, I just unfollow. It's not personal. It doesn't mean I don't like you. It's just for my own general well-being. I like to frequently acknowledge things that my body does that I'm grateful for. Like if I'm reading a book, I'll feel a wave of appreciation that I can look at these pages and see words and interpret them and comprehend what's going on and enjoy what's going on. It's so cool. When I'm like cycling to work, I feel so appreciative of my body to be able to get me from one destination to another, and I didn't even have to pay for like public transport or something. Or when I'm eating a great meal or having a nice iced coffee, I love being able to just enjoy the taste. And I'm grateful that I get to have that like little micro experience that makes my day like 5% better. And just lots of little things like that to appreciate what your body is capable of. It allows you to have all these cool experiences and meet all these cool people and see all these cool things. And it's just really cool. We're all just meatbags wandering around living life, and it's pretty cool. It's not an easy process all the time. I still sometimes find myself leaning towards old habits or thinking those same old thoughts as I used to way back when, but I try to override them with new, healthier thoughts as soon as they arise. I mean, even when I was working on this video, I had a bit of a triggering moment, and I'm not using that term lightly. When someone squeezed the skin around my throat and said it was squishy, it wasn't malicious or anything. They just had no concept of how badly that would affect me. It just immediately took me back to when I used to do body checks on myself, and that was one of the areas I would periodically squeeze. So when that person did that, it just brought back so much of that old self-loathing and disgust, and it was almost like a confirmation of my worst fears, which is ridiculous. It wasn't really fun, and honestly I was kind of disappointed in myself for still having these feelings buried deep inside of me. But honestly, I think it takes a long time for that to fully go away anyway. I also told that person how much it had impacted me and set up some boundaries about what I wasn't comfortable with, and you should definitely do that too. The goal is to protect yourself as much as possible from behavior that could lead to a downward spiral. So setting boundaries could make the world a difference. If there are people in your life who are feeding your negative thoughts and don't stop even when they know how badly it's affecting you, cut them out. Like seriously, you don't need somebody body shaming you, hanging around, messing up all your body neutrality vibes. As the old TikTok proverb goes, there's the door, bitch. There's the door. But yeah, I feel like you're able to enjoy experiences and moments a lot more when you aren't secretly obsessing over your appearance the whole time. I know those thoughts have seriously impacted some really great experiences for me, and I regret being so caught up in my head that I didn't have as much fun as I could have. In the end, just objectively, I think people's physical appearance is the least interesting thing about them. There's so much more I value above that, and reminding myself of that and that view has led me to focus on the world around me and what I'm doing in it. When I'm old, I don't really want my greatest achievement to be, I look nice. I think I can offer up something better than that. Maybe. We're all holding fingers for that one, honestly. Anyway, just be gentle and understanding of your situation. It can be slow going and doing all the subliminal messaging picked up about the importance of beauty from such a young age. And maybe one day you'll stop caring about your appearance too. Or at least care slightly less. And honestly, that's impressive progress within itself. There's also a lot of good information out there to help support you along the way. I actually recently watched Nicole Raffi's video on her journey with body neutrality. Yeah, I just thought it was very relatable, and I think there are a lot of videos and blogs, if you read those, and things like that out there. It's always nice to see that people actually get what you're going through, and that's why I made this. Thank you so much for watching. Please do subscribe if you so wish, and I think your body is looking very neutral and your personality is looking very stunning today.